Welcome to this edition of Miles Ahead, and you join me here inside a Volvo XC40 Recharge. Now, Volvo has launched the XC40. It comes with an internal combustion engine, hybrid powertrain, or the full EV mode. Now, this is the front-wheel drive only version. They also do the all-wheel drive in front-wheel drive trim. So the model as tested here is £56,700. To upgrade to the all-wheel drive version, it comes in at £61,950. The all-wheel drive, obviously powering all four wheels, is quite a bit faster than this. This does 0 to 60 in 7 seconds. The all-wheel drive will do it in under 5. We're going to have a look around the outside of this car. We'll come back inside and have a look at the interior options as well, and we'll take it out for a drive. We'll really just be trying to have a look at how this compares to other EVs at this price point. There's a lot of choice in the 50 grand plus price bracket. You get Tesla Model 3 long range at 50 and the Model 3 Performance at 60. You've got cars like the Audi Q4 e-tron as well. So there's quite a bit of competition knocking about at this price point. So yeah, we'll dive in and see if this justifies the price tag and where it sits in amongst competition as well. I'll just give you a bit more information about the car before we do jump out and have a look around the outside. So it's powered by a 69 kilowatt hour battery. 67 kilowatt hours of that is usable, and that produces 231 horsepower through the front wheels. It's got a stated range of it's always up to 262 miles. From the driving we've done, we've had a good mix. I've covered just over 100 miles and we've used 50% of the range, so you'd probably be looking at anywhere between 200 and 220 miles depending on how you drive it. I've used it for commuting. We've done a couple of motorway trips and just everyday stuff, really the sort of driving you'd intend to use a car like this for. So yeah, hopefully it's been a fairly fair test of its capabilities. But yeah, we'll wrap that up in the conclusion at the end of the drive along. But for the time being, let's jump outside and see what it looks like. And here's the Volvo XC40 Recharge from the outside. So the first option to note is the sage green paint. You do get upgraded paint options with the Ultimate package. You also get things like the tilt and slide panoramic roof, which you can see I've got open up there because it's quite warm today. And it also brings in things like 360-degree parking camera, bit of ambient lighting, and these rather fetching 20-inch 5-spoke wheels. I think they're really good-looking wheels, actually. I guess one thing about the aesthetics is quite a boxy car. I guess all these sort of SUVs are, aren't they, really, these days? But I must say the aesthetics have grown on me quite a bit. I do quite like the way this car presents itself. I think Volvo have done quite a good job in transforming their image over the last sort of 10-15 years, and they're definitely producing better looking, more desirable cars than they used to be. Obviously, this being an EV, there's no grille, so you just got the front camera in there. As we come around the side, you can see the black effects around the trim on the car and the linings around there, and you also get the tinted windows in the rear. We'll just have a quick look in the rear whilst we're here. As you'd expect, there's plenty of room in here. You get ISOFIX on the outer seats, and you also get heated seats back here, and there are 2 USB-C chargers in there as well, and you get you can adjust your climate control back here as well. But there's plenty of headroom back there, plenty of legroom as well, so you're not going to be uncomfortable in the back there. So as we come round to the rear, I think this is the best angle of the car for my money. I quite like the way it looks from back here. I like the Volvo writing across the back there, and yeah, it's not overdoing it. It's not trying to be something it's not. I don't think they've gone unnecessarily for the sort of sporting look. We'll just have a look at the boot space. So you should be able to just swivel your leg under there. Of course, that never works. Oh, there we go. Right, it keeps doing this. It sort of stops halfway. But yeah, as you'd expect, there's a decent sized boot in here. There's a bit of storage underneath as well. There's some charging cables there, although the main charging cables are kept in the front trunk, and obviously it's electrically assisted. Just come around the other side as well to complete the look. You've got the charging port is there. It will charge up to 150 kilowatt hours, so get you back up and running pretty quickly if you can find a fast enough charger. So yeah, actually, I mean, this car, the look has grown on me. Yeah, I think it's quite a good looking car. If this is the sort of thing that you're after, if you're after a practical, comfortable family SUV, then yeah, I think this sort of does stand out quite well for its aesthetics. But anyway, let's see what it's like inside. So this is the view from the driver's seat of the Volvo XC40 Recharge, and you do get rather a nice commanding view from up here. You're quite high up and you get a nice big windscreen here and a good view out of those large wing mirrors. One safety feature to note on these, you do get the blind spot assist, illuminates in orange along the outside of the wing mirror. Really useful feature that, it works really well. You'll notice it next time you're passing a Volvo on the motorway. You'll see the driver's side wing mirror illuminate in orange just to notify them that you're there, which is yeah, I like that feature in other cars and I like it in this as well. These seats are really comfortable. I've been impressed with those. They're heated in the front. You also get ISOFIX as well in the front passenger seat, so if you need to get 3 child seats in the car, you can. There's plenty of storage. You get nice deep bins in the doors there, bit of a glove box, you get a manual in there, it's not the biggest. As you come down here, you get a wireless mobile charging pad, a couple of USB-C chargers as well, and a 12-volt battery charger there. You also get 2 cup holders, and this centre console is quite well thought out. So you've got the one compartment there, and you've also got a bin here, but if you don't want to have that in there, you can just take it out. So yeah, quite a nice feature to have, well thought out. As we come across the driving view, yeah, you can toggle between your views in here. It's fully integrated with Google Maps, so we've got that on at the moment, but you get, yeah, nice information from here. It tells you the speed on the left, gives you the information down there as well. So we've driven 107.5 miles and achieved 30.5 kilowatt hours per 100 miles driven, and we have 30% of the battery left. So yeah, this infotainment system, as mentioned, fully integrated with Google. Just go to Maps there, it's got Google Voice Assistant and all that sort of stuff as well. Also mentioned the 360 parking, so if I stick the gear lever into reverse there, you can see that come up there. So if we're in a car park, so as we start to move around, you can see the car go with it, and you get the lines to indicate where you're going and all that sort of stuff. Stick it back into D, and yeah, just gives you an idea of where you're driving to. So yeah, that works really well as well. We did mention at the top some of the competition. So cars like the Audi Q4 e-tron and Mercedes EQA do feature a head-up display here. This car doesn't have that. Not a deal breaker, more of a nice to have. But overall, yeah, I quite like the interior in here. It's a very comfortable place to be. This panoramic sunroof definitely makes a difference. That's a really nice feature to have, because even when you've not got the roof open, it's nice just to let more light in through the glass roof. So yeah, quite like it in here. But what's it like to drive? So what's the Volvo XC40 Recharge like to drive? Well, normally we'd start with the engine noise, but obviously this being an EV, there is no engine noise to speak of. So straight in with the practicalities. This is an incredibly easy car to get to grips with. Just jump in, select D, off you go. It's no more complicated than that. And with all the surround sound cameras and safety features and all that sort of stuff, yeah, it's quite a big car, but it never feels too big. The only time it really sort of feels out of place is, well, we're on a country road at the moment. When you start to hustle it a bit, it doesn't like that. That's really not its forte. It weighs just over 2 tons before I've parked my arse in it, so you know, it is not a light car. And to give it its dues, nor is it trying to be something it's not. It doesn't, no part of it says, take me down a B road, quick, let's go for a hustle. It's just not set up for that. But as regards to driving experience, a couple of complaints, I guess, to start with. The steering's a little bit snatchy, particularly at low speeds. It always wants to get back to centre, and that can be a little bit irritating. Also, the one pedal driving, you can either have it on or off, and when you've got it on, it really does brake quite harshly. It would be nice, some other cars, we mentioned a couple of the competitors, have the flappy paddles so you can change the level of regenerative braking, and this doesn't have that, just have it on or off, but it's something that you quickly get used to in this car. Also, the adaptive cruise control, it works really well, but the steering, again, it's quite overpowering, and it demands that you keep your hands on the wheel quite firmly all the time. Again, one to get used to. I don't think I've quite gotten used to it yet, and there were just a couple of times had it on the A3 around one of the sort of sweeping right hand turns, and it went across into the middle lane. Now, I was fully focused on what I was doing. I was expecting it to do that, but you can never really just leave it to its own devices. You do need to keep a firm eye on what's going on, as you should at all times anyway, I should stress. But those are but minor drawbacks. Around town, the sort of urban lifestyle, which really this car is designed for, it excels. It's good over speed bumps. It makes quite a bit of noise going over potholes and that sort of thing, but it doesn't really disturb the cabin too much. It certainly doesn't put you off your stride, and it's not a crashy ride at all. It is, you know, 9 times out of 10 incredibly smooth, handles speed bumps and that sort of stuff incredibly well too. The 360-degree parking camera is really useful for parking. Not that this is a difficult car to park anyway, because you get such a great view out of it. Now, I did say I was going to compare it to other cars. At £56,700, there is quite a lot of competition. Sits between the Tesla Model 3 Long Range and Tesla Model 3 Performance at 50 and 60 grand respectively. Obviously, the Model 3 Performance does 0 to 60 in about 3 seconds. We did a long range review of that. We took it to Liverpool and back in the day. And really, if you're going to be doing long distances, the Tesla's still the go-to choice, if only because their charging network is so far ahead of everyone else's. They're just at most motorway service stations these days, so accessible, easy to use. They are a step ahead of everyone else in that regard. And they also, the Tesla Model 3 Long Range has got a usable range of over 340 miles. So that again plays into that decision if you're doing long distances. But if you're not, they say 99% of journeys are no more than 8 miles long. This is going to fit in, but you are going to need to get a wall charger at home. But I mean, that's no big deal if you've got to drive, if you live in a flat and that sort of thing. That is going to pose problems that the Tesla begins to solve. I mentioned the Mercedes EQA and the Audi Q4 e-tron, both very good cars, quite similar to this. You get sort of commanding, boxy feel to the cars, and they're, you know, equally relaxing to drive as well. The other cars mentioned, the Polestar 2. We reviewed that last year on the channel. I quite like that, and I quite like this as well. They do the C40, which is the sort of more crossover shape, looks a bit more like a Polestar 2. You know, very similar technology stack once you get inside it as well. You know, again, a very nice car to drive. But you do wonder, you know, Polestar and Volvo, both owned by Geely, a lot of shared technology, a lot of shared design work and what's going on there as well. You know, are they much of a muchness? Perhaps, but you know, everyone's got to make EVs these days. I suspect that Polestar will go for the more aesthetically pleasing, sort of coupe GT style riders, and Volvo will stick to the more everyday sort of stuff. But you know, we'll see how that one pans out as we go. But I do think this holds its own in this bracket, I must say. It's a very nice, refined, relaxing car to drive, and in the nicest possible way it provides you with forgettable drives. And I know that sounds like I'm criticising it, I'm not. It does just fit in with your lifestyle. Yeah, it's not going to be a B-road basher that you're going to go around and go, oh, do you know what, I absolutely love that cross-country drive in this car. It won't provide that, but nor does it pretend to provide that either. I think SUVs lend themselves incredibly well to electrification. You know, they're big, they're supposed to be comfortable. You barely notice the gear changes in these cars these days as well. So actually swapping out the engine for a battery, I don't think you're really losing anything. In fact, you're losing nothing, and it makes quite a lot of sense to have it as electric because it's just so much quieter and adds that added dimension of refinement to the sort of cabin noise and what's going on around you. So yeah, I think this is an unapologetic family electric SUV, and it does a very good job of being it. I've actually quite enjoyed having it. I've used it for mundane driving, as I mentioned, commuting, a couple of motorway runs, and it has just fitted in with doing like the run to the Lidl and that sort of stuff incredibly well. Goes unnoticed, and it just sort of fits in with your lifestyle. It's very comfortable, nice, refined car, and it's very Volvo, because Volvo have done a very good job of transforming their image in recent times, actually. I mean, not so long ago you'd look at like the 740 and 850, I think, of course, you know, the late 80s, 90s into early 2000s Volvos, and you'd see someone driving those and think, there's someone who's given up on life. Whereas the modern take on the Volvo is, you know, it's a bit cooler, isn't it? It's a bit more sophisticated. There's that Scandinavian charm to them. So they've undergone that sort of transformation, and you know, safety, the green credentials and all that, it was always going to be hand in glove for Volvo, so it makes sense for them to do these electric cars. And on first impressions of driving a Volvo electric car, it's hard to say that they've done anything other than a very good job. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and please also consider subscribing. We have got a lot of videos on the channel. I think we're coming up to our 50th review. So yeah, there's plenty of videos on the channel, and we've got loads more lined up as well throughout the rest of the year. So yeah, please hit the thumbs up button, please hit subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Thanks.